we are live. Welcome back to our After Hours podcast. Sorry, I hesitated a little bit because we have not seen each other for 3 weeks.
It's been ages. I
It-
had forgotten where to come to the studio.
no, of
I had to put
course.
it into Google.
Actually, we had a little bit of internet issue earlier, and I didn't even realize that Stephen has arrived, and you had to message me and say ding dong.
I did, exactly. We're gonna have to have a look at your doorbell because your doorbell shouldn't rely on the internet. That's probably not a great thing.
Yeah, I know that, and this is the thing that long time ago when people were deciding that they no longer needed landline, and I am
Mhm.
in the belief that you need to because given the state of the world at the moment,
Yeah.
you need something that is wired down in the ground to make sure that if something is to happen, you have connection.
You still have connection? See, I think that's an interesting view. I think that, wired connection definitely helps. But, so many people are getting, 5G and 4G and even Starlink backups.
Yes,
So maybe
yes.
that's where we're going. Maybe we're going, NBN, the wonderful NBN that delivers, high speed access to your homes, but then the backup is a wireless connection.
Allegedly high speed. But today, we are not going to talk about any of that because, as you can probably see in the title, we are going to do a little bit of a recap of my experience at Natural Products Expo West 2026 in Anaheim, California. And prior to this, actually, we were supposed to start. I know for you who tune in for many weeks and we let you down for 3 weeks. I'm so sorry. We're 39 minutes late because on top of the doorbell issue, internet issue, I actually had to do a debrief with Stephen because whilst I'm really transparent in sharing with you my journey, my adventure, of course there are certain things that are commercially in confidence
Mhm.
and I believe you me, I really want to tell you and speak about this because I'm all about manifesting, but there's also a commercial aspect to that. But I have to tell you that Stephen is very optimistic, very cautiously confident that we are on the right path and on the right track. And whilst we're not there yet, I always say this that we are one step closer than yesterday, which is a great perspective to have.
I think that's a really great perspective. I think it's really good to have a future looking view. You need some targets. But from what you've told me, I think starting reasonably small, like in terms of the conversations, I think that's super important. Building some strong relationships with individuals because that's how you get known in a company. That's how you move your product forward.
Yes, and sorry, I know exactly where you're going to take this conversation, but before that, because you didn't say this before this nuggets of wisdom before I press live. What you said was literally something that my co-founder Charlie, who is based in Chicago, told me that in this business or in the business world, trusts are not actually formed in one big grand gesture. It is small little things that make you believe and put your trust in someone because people can fake one big gesture, but it's a constant small moment of trust that forms up relationship in the business.
That's so true. I think probably everyone has heard that concept that you need to hear a new thing 7 times before you really learn it. I think the same thing gets applied to relationships that we form. So if you meet somebody at a party, maybe you exchange phone numbers, and like let's keep it business focused. So
I didn't say anything.
it was the look. You're going to have to follow that person up.
Yeah,
And in fact, you can judge how successful you've been in that first meeting if the other person follows you up.
that's correct.
So it's, yeah, there's a whole science to it.
Yeah, and I know what you're gonna ask me, but go on and ask.
Well, tell us what the expo is. So there are so many expos that are all round, and we see the home show in Sydney. We see all these other things that that really have nothing to do with us. But in the US, my experience is that some of these shows, uh, it's like they take over a small city. Some of them are
They're li-
super enormous.
yes, yes. And whilst Natural Product Expo West is the largest show and expo of its
Mm.
kind in this category in the US, and by the number by the numbers of exhibitors and attendees, probably not the largest, because we also have two others in China. They're just enormous in terms of people attending, because they simply just have more people. But in terms of the value, in terms of the investment opportunity, as well as retail opportunity, it is the largest in the world for this category, the category of consumer packaged goods in the natural and organic aisles.
Yeah.
This is not even the biggest expo overall across different uh, categories. So you have the car shows, the
Mhm.
auto shows, the technology and
Yeah.
everything, but it is still enormous. And you're absolutely right. It is nothing compared to what we have here in ICC. The way that I always try to explain how big it is for people who have not been there, and this happened to me 3 years ago. That was my first time there. Just imagine ICC, which is International Convention Center in
In
Sydney,
Sydney.
which, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the biggest convention center in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit larger than Melbourne. So if
Yeah.
you've been to Melbourne, Melbourne's about maybe 75% the size.
Okay. So you just imagine ICC, you times that into two in terms of the area, and you stack that area, the double area, onto each other.
Wow.
And that is the indoor area of Anaheim Convention Center. And for the Natural Product Expo West, you have three hotels surrounding Anaheim Convention Center, which is the Hilton, Marriott, and Sheraton Hotel. All of the ballrooms are being used for workshops, seminar, keynote
Wow.
speeches.
Yeah.
And not only that, there are two really big marquees outside that host the organic market and fresh market, where you get to sample new products, new exciting development and innovation. And the alleyway in between all of these buildings, so Anaheim Convention Center, Sheraton, Marriott, and Hilton, they have an
Mm.
open, like, stage where people mingle and people have their lunches, or
Sounds
they meet
amazing.
people. So there are approximately 88,000 visitors across the 2.5 days of the expo.
Wow.
And every day we clock in, each of us. So there were a few of us who were going there, on average, 22,000 steps. It is like it is like the Olympic event of our, at least to me,
Yeah,
to all of us here in Renovatia and Vincent.
that's amazing.
Uh, that is our Olympic. I train for that because, obviously, as someone who is the founder and the believe it or not, the face of this company, I have to always look happy and
Mm.
energized. And believe you me, I was. It's just that after 3 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, after all of these meetings in the morning and waking up early, obviously you feel a little bit tired,
It's
but
draining. Yeah.
it's draining. But not this year, because I've known this from the first time we were there, and then training again last year. This year I felt that I was the fittest and the most ready when it comes to the physical aspect of the expo.
Wow. So you stayed away from all of the sugar dipped donuts and the bacon in caramel sauce. That was one of my favorites.
Maple syrup. You know what? You know what? One thing that I know that a lot of people are demonizing and villainizing American fast food and junk food. I mean, the, ergo the name junk food, but they are actually
Fast
really
food
good.
is probably yeah.
But well, some of them are junk, Stephen. Like, some of them, like, you literally do not need 93 ingredients to make a loaf of bread.
Mm.
However, I have to say that when it comes to the dopamine hit food and snacks, they're winning. I do not understand that. I mean, take an example of deep fried butter. You really don't need that. It is so unnecessary. But at the same time, do I like it? No. Did I try it? Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of ideas and innovation, I think it is such
Mm.
I always say this, and I say this to my in-laws, to my friends that are not in this industry. In I always say that even if you are not there to work, you will find it
Mm.
very, very interesting. The amount of samples that we get, we had to have a new suitcase. Well, that was
Mm.
the first year. Now, including this year, we travel with an empty suitcase just for the
Just for
samples.
the samples. Yeah. Wow.
So that is in terms of the size
Mm.
and the number of attendees. But I've also worked out to explain and describe this kind of event because a lot of people, if you go online and you Google Natural Product Expo West, and this year is actually their biggest ever because it's their 75th anniversary. But also the reason why they call it Expo West because it's the expo on the West Coast. They used to have Expo East, but now they merge everything into just one
Into the one
Expo
expo.
West.
Yeah.
So it's a
So
really big
so that's 75 years?
years,
Wow.
75 years.
Wow.
So this is the reason why I say that for supplements, natural skincare, good and better for you food and drink products, America, the United States of America, is the promised land
Yeah.
of our industry because 75 years of the expo, they have had more than that in terms of um,
I guess
the
product
the
development.
product development, but also the consumer pull and interest when it comes to organic and natural food product and drink product and
Yeah.
uh, toiletries, skincare, and everything. And I know that we a lot of us say that, but Americans are so unhealthy, which I really do believe that there's a little bit of stereotypical thing about that.
That's
But at the same time, their understanding about health is a lot more advanced in the way that everybody that I met, and not in the industry. I mean, I'm talking about Uber driver, people at the hotel, people who
mm,
are waiting in the lobby of the hotel. They know about inflammation. They know about antioxidants. They know about phenolic antioxidants. When we started Renovato here in Australia 11 years ago, the one of the biggest challenges was to explain to people what inflammation is.
yeah.
And there, the market is so ready. I obviously had to explain the unique value proposition of our products, activated phenolics and AP Skin, but I didn't have to start by learning, oh, by the way, our body is made of trillions of cells. When cells get inflamed,
Mm.
that it can cause a whole lot of issues to our body. So antioxidants can help to reduce inflammation. We skip that part
Mm.
because
It's assumed
they
knowledge.
already have a grasp of this concept.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Did you, in the people that you met at the expo, was there a wide range of knowledge around natural products,
Yes.
starting from almost none at all the way through to super experts?
Y yes, because, when you go there and you compare, notes with other experts in the industry, you almost sort of kinda in my head, there are 3 categories of these experts. So it costs $2,000 to just be there
Mm.
as an attendant.
Yeah.
So, uh, people who were there really wanted to be there.
Mm.
It's not just
It's not
it's
people on the street.
not a tourist destination or something that you do. Oh, by the way, it's on. Let me
Mhm.
just go there because it costs money to be there. So in my head, and the way that I silo these people who attended Expo West, there are 3 categories in terms of experts. People who are into the products by passion and from the scientific point of view. So you can I'm in one of those buckets, and you can also have people who are into the herbal tincture concoction, or people who are really passionate about growing their crops organically without fertilizer,
Okay.
or the how to make wine that is aligned with the moon cycle, for example.
Mhm.
So people who are really passionate with the craft itself. And then in the second category, you have people who are very business savvy, who are like they can forecast trend. They work really really well with people like me, for example, in terms of product development. But they also know how it works
Mm.
in terms of financially.
Yeah, what the market looks like
And they work
and
out
the market
how
share.
to turn an idea into a product and product into a commodity.
Yeah.
And the third category of this expert is in the way of marketing, because I mean, there's only so many things that you can invent, right? I mean, sure, you can have different flavors, different coloring, different packaging, but most of the time, it is these people in this third category of experts that sell the product. I mean, bottled water, for example, there were at least 18 brands of bottled water there.
Mm.
At some point, I actually had to ask, so what makes your water different?
Yes.
Or men wipes. So men wipes is basically just wipes, your normal wipes, but it's in black packaging and they're selling it to men because
That's red.
somehow using normal gender neutral wipe makes you unmanly.
Uh-huh.
They're
What baby wipes? You wouldn't want to use baby wipes. It
not
doesn't
not
sound
not
very
if you're a man. This is those are for boys, Stephen. I don't know how you didn't know about this before, but they had like this massive booth that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just imagine how many wipes you would have to sell to even afford that booth. So these people clearly saw the gap in the market and they commercialize it. I mean, America is a very commercial uh, and capitalist market, which I mean, good for them. I aspire to have that knack of seeing the gap in the market and commoditize it. But one thing that I learned is that just because you can sell anything, at least to me, doesn't mean that you should sell anything at all. Because as I was walking this, and I'm not saying this to say that, oh, I'm holier than thou. I, I, it brought me back to when I first founded the company, and I'm so glad that in Australia, we name our company Renovatio. I insisted on that because in all of this trendy and hype and blitz and all of the noises and hype of the industry, I get to take a pause and remind myself that I'm in it to help people.
Mm.
And that, uh, thank goodness and lucky me, resonated with a lot of people, including the buyers from one of the biggest retail groups
Mm.
in the US, including the executives from one of the shopping channel in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go back to the first time when we went to the US, that also was resonating with my co-founder Charlie, who then partnered with me to build Vincent as a brand in the
In the
US.
US, yeah.
And I do think that uh, whilst it is not something that you can put a dollar value on, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but a good intention counts for something, in my opinion. And I hope that I will still I will still have the same view when Vincent becomes a big brand and I becomes richer than now. But I do believe that when you have a good heart and a good intention, that counts for something because not all money is good money.
Mm. Look, I think that the market in the US, as well, being arguably about 380 million people or so, much larger than the Australian market. Obviously, there are only 26 million people here. There's so much opportunity for you to take that brand to all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different people, and I really love the idea that you're so focused on helping the people, and obviously you can't help them on an individual basis. You need a distributor
Yes.
platform to be able to do that. And so whether that's a large trusted brand in the US that's going to retail the product, or if that's one of the trusted shopping channels that are very popular in the US.
Yeah.
A huge number of products are bought over the shopping channels. I think that those two paths to market still keep you that connection with that end person, the end user.
Yes, and I do, you know, I was born in Indonesia and I came here when I was 18, almost 19. And whilst in Australia, we have this great
Mm.
healthcare system. It was not necessarily the case where I grew up in. Indonesia now does too. And this rings very true with the US as well. It
Mm.
is notorious that some people feel that they cannot afford to be sick in the US
Yeah.
because being sick can literally bankrupt you. But at the same time, I also feel that being healthy for so long is almost like it's being gate capped from the general population. How many times have we heard that, oh, but being healthy is expensive, healthier products are expensive?
Mm.
It's almost like people, both consumer and industry uh, stakeholders, perpetuating this notion that someone has to be wealthy to be healthy. And I really absolutely hate that notion.
Mm.
Part of the mission in the US is that I really want to communicate to people so much so that they believe that they do not have to be wealthy to be healthy. It's not health should not be a luxury.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a healthcare system that makes you unable to afford being sick, at the very least, I want people to feel that they're empowered to be healthy,
And to be preventative
to be
as well.
preventative.
So
Exactly.
eat well, the right supplements, right mix of different foods.
That is correct. And I do think that the movement is there. And I feel that uh, we we arrive at the right time and meeting the right people.
Mm.
Probably, I would say 80% of what I count as success so far in our trip to the US happened by chance. And I do believe in being lucky.
Mm.
I also believe that luck favors the prepared people. So I think it's a combination of everything that makes me so happy. I mean, it was a really hard work, but I also find a lot of fulfillment because I learned a lot from these people. I learned a lot about like one of the highlight in terms of the experience meeting the giants from the industry in the US is that I had this meeting with the group of buyers that I told you just now, and they were just so nice,
Wow.
so kind, friendly, to the point where I thought that I was imagining things. And luckily, Charlie was there because after the meeting, I could then do a debrief with Charlie and said that they did say this, right? Because because I mean, I've met a lot of buyers, and don't get me wrong, there were a lot of good buyers here too in Australia, but there were also buyers who think that they hold the fate of
Of your
your
company
business
in
or
the
your
yeah.
company in their hands,
Yeah.
and they really exercise that kind of authority and that power
Mm.
compared to this group of buyers who, again, couldn't be any kinder to me, to the point where I then become, not that I didn't believe in myself, but because they reacted and responded so well, it then gave me the encouragement to be presenting with more conviction because I felt that they believe in what I'm trying to achieve. Because
Yeah.
I always get a little bit nervous when I start a meeting by saying that I want people to believe that they can be healthy without being wealthy. Because corporate America is notorious of, like, they
Yeah.
want money, money,
They
money,
just want the
money.
first bit, the
Exactly.
wealthy.
So if you start with something like that, some people might say that, Vincent, you shouldn't have done it because then they ball. But I do believe that I want,
Mm.
I mean, to just talk about it means nothing. I feel that if I really want to be part of this revolution or lead this revolution, even, I have to find the right partners. And hopefully, I mean, it's not a done deal yet, but hopefully, this is the beginning of partnering with the right people to bring upon
With the right
change
action.
with the right action. Yeah.
Yeah. And from what you've said, it really sounds like a win-win. So obviously a win for you bringing your products into a new
Yeah.
market, but also a win for them because it is a new product. It's a product which actually does address a problem that's in the US, and hopefully it's super popular.
I
Uh,
hope so.
was there much discussion about the Australian brand, so the Made in Australia? Did that make a difference when talking to people in the US?
No, unfortunately, no. I think that this is something that is very different to whenever we did a show or an expo or conferences in Southeast Asia or in China, where the Australian brand and made in
It's
Australia
strong, yeah.
is very strong, and people associate the the country, our country, with clean, fresh, organic, natural, and healthy,
Mm.
which is true. However, being in the US, it is I I might be wrong, but from my encounters with all of these people, they their response was neutral whenever I say that, "Oh, it's made from 100% Australian apples."
Yep.
As a matter of fact, there were a few people um, who later on became interested after asking why Australian apples, why not American apples, and I had to go and be a little bit put on my farmer's hat and say that, it's very the growing condition in Australia for apples is very unique. You have the volcanic soil, you have
Mm,
the temperature fluctuation between the day and the night that
yeah.
is really quite extreme, double digit
Mm,
Celsius degrees difference, and then the extreme UV radiation,
mm.
which they can't even imagine there because as I mean, genetically as Indonesian and now being tempered in Australia, I really don't think that I could ever get sunburn in California. Their sun is nothing. I mean, if there was, I don't know if you know what, like if I were a vampire in Australia, I could just walk
Ju-
the daylight
Just wander
in
around
I
town.
know.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you get to Anaheim. What was your travel uh,
So
like?
the travel was really fun. I love flying. I don't care whether it's business, premium economy, or economy. Obviously, I
Mm,
prefer the former rather than the latter. But I flew from Sydney to LAX, and then LAX. Then we drove to
yeah,
Anaheim.
yeah,
I think it was 14 hours, and I love it because we flew Qantas, and usually we flew exclusively Qantas because I don't and I've flown other airlines too. It's just that whenever I'm going to somewhere to work, I don't know why this gives me almost a comfort and security blanket to fly with Qantas because and I didn't know this before, but uh on the plane that is still Australia up until you disembark. And for some reason, I just want the extension, the a little bit longer extension of being at home before I go to the battlefields, so to speak. And yeah, that
mm.
the people, the crew members were all really good, and I got to practice my pitches with them, my elevator pitch, my presentation, my speech. So they were really really kind, and I know that I know that a lot of people feel the same way whenever they fly a contest, and the people on board was just really nice. And the other thing that I also want to mention is that Marty is our driver, and I don't know because you work a lot in the US too.
Yeah.
Do you drive there?
Yeah, I don't mind driving on the right-hand side at all. In fact, I tend to switch over very quickly. Uh,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's exactly why I mentioned this
mm,
because for the life of me, like I have driving license. I don't like to drive, but I do drive.
yeah.
I'm an okay driver too, despite the stereotypical Asian driver. What I'm trying to say is that as soon as we got out from the rental
In LA,
in
yeah.
LA, which you had to take a bus to,
Mhm.
it's almost like nothing for him. He was just driving like
That's
it's a
amazing.
most normal thing.
The only time I got slightly caught up was I had an opportunity to drive, an American muscle car in Nashville, and so I jumped into it and all very excited, and then I looked down, it was stick shift. And I'm like, but I use my left hand in Australia.
Yes, yes.
But
I guess
yeah,
I guess that's one thing that the difference between manual and automatic
mm,
because of your coordination. I mean,
yeah,
and this is something that is very important because it's the closest thing that I can probably relate to is like whenever you're driving European car or American car,
mm.
the
And
indicator
the
and
wheel spring
wiper,
wipers,
yes,
yes.
yes, which is fine if you do it like that. Right? It's
No,
not
no.
dangerous. But
Mm.
with the is it transmission stick? Is that what you call it? The
It's
shifter?
the shifter. In the US, the shifter or the transmission, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
gear stick, we call
gear
it,
stick. Yes, that is not as trivial as you know. Oops, sorry, I turned the wiper.
yeah. It's not. You don't wanna be changing gears into the wrong
No,
gear at,
or
110 miles an hour.
yes, and this is the other thing that is also worth noting is that even though we've spent a lot of time in the US in the past 3 years, I still can't. My brain doesn't work with miles, meters, feet, as well as Fahrenheit and Celsius. Do you work? Does your brain work that way?
So my brain works in miles and kilometers. I don't
Okay.
really have a big problem with that. But Celsius and Fahrenheit, like I know that there's you might
Well, I can
32 or double or
well, I can do that. I can do it
yeah,
if I have pen and
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
But then I found a solution, a quick trick chit shit to this is because we have to put a storage condition for our products.
Mm,
And in Australia, store in a cool temperature, cool and dry, below 25 degrees Celsius.
25. Okay.
Yes. And then in our American product label is 77 Fahrenheit. So I always know whenever people say, oh, so hot, it's 90-degree. And I said, oh, yep, it is hot because it's over 77, which is over 25 degrees Celsius. I said,
Yeah,
oh,
I think 102, 104 is just over 40.
okay.
And every time I go to Vegas, I tend to go there for trade shows,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's always in the cheapest time to have a trade show in Vegas
When it was like really
because
hot.
it's the hottest possible time to be there. And it's
Yeah.
usually like 104, 106, which
Yeah.
is, in
And
the
whenever they
40s.
say that, oh, it's so cold. What is it? Oh, it's like 40-degree. And I was like, yep, it is cold because it's below 25-degree. So that's how my brain works now.
Excellent.
At
Yeah.
least I can gauge because that is the thing. Like obviously you can just pull out your phone and Google to convert this.
Yeah.
But in the conversation, I would like to be able to gauge how cold or how warm the temperature is.
Mm. Something to work on.
Yes. Um,
What was
another
the most surprising thing in the US for this trip?
Wow, we're back at your mind reading skills now because literally before we spoke at the same time, what I wanted to say was that one thing that really was a pleasant surprise for me was that the Natural Product Expo West has been dubbed the Super Bowl of CPG consumer
Mhm.
packaged goods. Um, and in a lot of sense, yes, it is like the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl, can you explain Super Bowl, please? Because I'm not a sport person,
It's
but
a whole lot of people that run around after a ball, and you can tackle anyone you like.
it is a competition. It's a competitive
It's
event.
it's one of America's largest competitive events.
Yes.
Yep.
So they call it that because of the size, and also obviously people go and attend there to compete,
Yeah. Yeah.
presumably against each other.
And it's super popular. There are
Yes.
often tens of millions of people who watch it in
Yes.
real time.
So they call it the Super Bowl of our industry. And I disagree with that because to me as an outsider going into the event as Australian going into the United States of America for this event, I actually to me it is a little bit like a Thanksgiving of our industry rather than a Super Bowl.
Okay.
The reason being is that I really don't see that the competitive aspect of it is not so fierce. It's not like it is not,
Mm.
at least to me, it's not visible at all. Like people are very supportive. People are cheering
Yeah.
on each other in terms of like, oh, you got this deal, I got this deal, and good luck or congratulations.
Amazing.
And but at the same time, obviously, because Thanksgiving is also a family event, obviously there are family
There
members
are
that you don't like,
occasional fights. Yeah.
occasional fights. But that's what I felt. And it is a little bit different to the startup or small business or early businesses community that I've been involved with in Australia.
Yeah.
I feel that because our pool is so small, it's almost like people feel or these founders they feel or they have been forced to feel that it's either you or me.
It's a fight for voice.
Yes.
I was at an event on Tuesday night, actually, and it was a founder pitch event.
Yes.
So there were five founders who got up and they pitched their product, and it happened to be most of them had something to do with AI.
Okay.
But it felt like a competition, and it really shouldn't have been
Yeah.
a competition. It should have been a sharing sort of thing. So that's really interesting in the US. Maybe the market is large enough that everyone has bait.
The pie is so big that it's almost like everybody is invited to have a slice.
Yeah.
And some people will have bigger slice, and that's fine. And I really like that because I remember, I don't know, 12 years ago when I started this in the first 6 months. So we spent probably 8 months, 8 to 10 months from from founding the company to actually products on shelf
Yeah.
in market. So during that time, I was really disappointed in the sub community because I felt that it's so cutthroat and it was very almost vicious. That I mean, even for people and founders who are from completely different industries,
Yeah.
like I have
Completely different market.
yes, I have met people in the US who not only in the same category, in the same almost, you know, same rows of shelves
Mm.
in the same aisle, they they were really helpful. They were like,
Wow.
"Oh, wow." As a matter of fact, they were like, "Wow, I remember when I started how many ever years ago and I made this mistake. Don't do that."
Wow.
I
That's awesome.
this is just something and I think not only it speaks about kindness, it also speaks about like Oprah doesn't mind sharing a public speaking tips because Oprah is Oprah. Just because you know her tips and tricks doesn't mean that you suddenly can become Oprah. So I feel that founders who can do that, they have that confidence that they are good at what they're doing and they
Mm,
don't mind people knowing a little bit about their trade secrets or tips and
mm.
tricks because they're so secure in what they have achieved and continue to achieve. And I think that's very empowering.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I would say to almost any of the companies that I mentor, focus on your product, focus on your market, focus on your growth, and which is essentially exactly what you just said. And sharing is
Yes.
fine. Uh,
I mean, obviously, I will
yeah.
not tell you how to make the product, and even if you do know that you can't because it's patent protected. But I absolutely agree in what you said because uh, on one hand, being in Expo West gives you this access and front row seat to all of the innovation product, be it the product, the
Mm,
packaging, the way to market the product. But at the same time, they can also become a distraction to what you're doing.
mm.
And I
Take
remember
you from your path.
exactly,
Yeah.
and I remember uh, long time ago because when we first started and launched this product, I was like, "Oh, it is so hard. Maybe we should just go with like, I don't know, gummies or whatever it is." And then I read something about how they race racing horse
Mhm.
or train racing horse, the thoroughbred.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And the reason why they have the blinders is because you want to make sure that you you're focused on what you are doing. You're focused on your
Mm,
track. You're racing your own race because when you are too busy looking right and left, not only you might trip, you you become you become distracted and it
yeah.
slows you down.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, and which is really funny because later on, many years later, I read a book by Kerry Washington. And she used to, before she became an actress, she used to be a yogi, and she used to teach yoga. And she said something that's very similar to this thoroughbred horse analogy, which is basically like when you're doing your sivasana, which is one of the
Mhm.
poses, you really want to be concentrating on yourself. You don't want to be looking at what people are doing around you because you might break your neck.
Yeah, you'll fall over.
You fall over. Yeah.
Um, on the flip side of that, was there was there anything that you saw in the show that, like, really piqued your interest? Something that was just something you'd never thought of?
Not from this year one. This year's event, because I'm gonna be very careful. Uh, because I know that the organizer of the expo is very proud of the 75th anniversary and everything, and
Mhm,
I am proud too. I'm proud to be there. I'm proud to be part of it, be on the keynote stage and everything. But I have to say that in terms of innovation, this year out of the 3 years that I have attended is probably it ranks third compared to my first year and second year.
mm,
And it's not because I'm jaded. It's like 3 years. There are people who have been attending for the past 10 and 15
mm,
years, and they agree with me because I feel that it has become a little bit of a rat race when it comes to trend. So everybody's doing protein. Everybody's doing water in a can because of
mhm.
Liquid Death brand, and everybody's doing fiber.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I said in my speech, I say that a lot of people brand our industry, the health and wellness industry, as very fickle because one year you want to promote dairy, the next year, no, 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 it's
Yeah, no
protein.
dairy, it's something
Yeah,
else, yeah.
and then a protein next year is fiber. What is it, right? Like because science supposed to be constant and firm rather than
Mm,
flexible depending on what you want to sell. So one thing though that I took from all of that, and I say this, that actually inspired my keynote speech, was that what hasn't changed, and I don't think it will ever change, is that people will always want products that work, products that help
mhm,
to increase their quality of life. And luckily, uh, I mean, got my PhD based on that, but luckily, we're in that space
mm,
because you want something that when people take that, it's not just because the packaging is pretty or the marketing is so sleek,
mm,
because you can fool people once, maybe twice. But in terms of customer retention and customer loyalty in the health and wellness industry, it
mm.
will only happen when the product works.
When the product works, yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
So, you mentioned to me that, you're likely to go back to the US.
Yes,
Uh,
fingers crossed.
think
I if any of you are in a good place currently in your life and you probably don't really need your luck for the next, like, I don't know, 3 or 5 days, just send it my way. I will return it. I will return your luck back after I finish the contract negotiation, which is actually not as scary as it sounds like. Um, we probably, fingers crossed, and I'm saying this, I'm not gonna say the brand, but I'm going to say the date because I believe in positive manifestation.
mhm.
The 6th of May, potentially we will be nationwide on a network in the US.
So amazing. Do you have any other markets that you're also looking at the moment, or is it Australia and the US?
Australia and the US, we sell in Indonesia and Singapore as well, and a little bit to Hong Kong, China. But they're in good hands of people. They're in the good hands of good people who are managing that. For me, the US is a little bit of a personal. It's a personal conquest, but it's a personal. You have to understand, Stephen. I never really learned English formally, so all of
Mm.
my knowledge about English came from
American TV show.
American, yeah, yeah, American TV show in particular. I, no, no, no. I don't know why I laugh like this, but because people always laugh when I say this because you have this like Dr. PhD, Dr. Vincent, the youngest PhD in the world for my field, da, 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 da. And suddenly, oh, I learned English from the Martha Stewart show and the Home Shopping Network. So, so a lot of the things that are happening in the market there,
Mm.
I knew this for the past 20
You're
years.
very familiar with.
I'm very
Yeah.
familiar with. As a matter of fact, f- it is not dissimilar to the feeling that I have when I visited Orange, visit the farm, the
Mm.
feeling of home that I belong and I really want. I can see myself doing this for years and years to come.
Yeah.
Um, I felt that too there. I really do feel that um, they're ready for something that is not just a good marketing. They understand that being healthy needs to start from the basics, which is your cells. The inflammation is something that is dangerous, even though you don't see the negative effect in the next month or tomorrow or the next year. It is something that is compounded in terms of the effect, be it negative or
Mm.
positive,
Yeah.
in your body, and that what you do today when it comes to your health and well-being might determine where you are in your life in the next 12 months, especially people who are in their 30s and 40s. What they do today determines not only their health and well-being in the next 5 years of their lives, but also their kids, because studies have shown that healthy parents tend to have healthy kids as well. And then that kids will then develop healthy lifestyle for their own kids. So I feel that finally people are grasping the concept that being healthy is not just something that you put money to. It is literally a smart investment, because if you're hardworking parents, you want to be you want to keep being healthy to work hard for your kids, and that your body is your asset. And um, I'm not gonna go down the route and say that your body is your temple, because sometimes I treat my body like a jumping castle. But regardless whether it's a temple or a jumping castle, you need to be happy within itself. And happiness and being healthy are very much hand in hand.
For mental health, for a whole lot of other reasons as well.
Yeah.
Vincent, I think we've probably wrapped up our time. Uh,
Oh,
I'm
tell
so
me the
happy.
story about tell me about this brand of vodka that you sent me on a wild goose chase for.
So
He thinks that
it it
he thinks that
I
he
thought
would
I was going to
wrap
get
up.
away with
No.
that. Yeah, exactly. So one of the first times I went to San Francisco, and listeners, please stay on board with this. It's just it's a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's an okay story. So one of the first times I went to San Francisco, a lot of years ago, there was a girl who worked for the company who lived on Alameda Island, which is on the other side of the bay from San Francisco. And she said to me, "Why don't you come over? You can watch the sunset over San Francisco, and we can have a couple of drinks. I'll invite some of my friends." I thought, "Oh, that sounds awesome! Unique experience in San Francisco." So I caught the BART, which is the train, Bay Area Transport, over to Alameda, and I walked down to her, and then she picked me up in her car, and we drove to the north end of Alameda Island. Now, let me just paint the picture of the north end of Alameda Island. It is an old Navy yard
Okay.
full of warehouses. And at one point, I'm thinking, am I going to get murdered? Well, we turned the corner and everything was fine because there was this uh, distillery, as it turned out, that did cheese and olives and the various spirits and whatever. And they'd set up all these tables facing the direction of San Francisco and the sunsets behind San Francisco.
Ah,
And it was just awesome. And that was St. George, which is the distillery. Listeners, when Vincent said to me, "What's your favorite vodka?" That was the first thing that I thought of. And there's a vodka called Hanger One, which St George distilleries make,
yeah.
and it's a really lovely, clean, um, really easy drinking vodka, which is great in a martini. I like my martinis neat or perfect.
Okay.
Some people like their martinis a little dirty,
I love it extra dirty.
and that's okay as well.
So,
It's a good vodka for either.
twist of lemon peel or olives. Please don't tell me onions
No,
because
no,
because
only
I we
olive.
will have a problem
Yeah, yeah, definitely olive.
because then you have appetizer with your cocktail, right?
Well, it's also an awesome vodka for a kamikaze. Uh, but maybe I should put the kamikaze recipe
On our
in the newsletter.
newsletter. There you go. Well, on that note, well, I'll tell you my side of the story next week. So you have to tune in and remind me, Stephen. Because I did go to two supermarket and I have pictures to prove. I sent you
Mhm.
pictures, didn't I? So
Did
we ended up with Tito's vodka, which is like the most from Sydney duty free. Anyway, thank you so much. It's so good to see you, Stephen. It's so good to say hello
great
to
to be back.
you, everyone. It's great to be back. And don't worry, we are going to be live again next week. And the recording of this will be up on Thursday, newsletter on Sunday. We're back to regular programming. Thank you. And on that note, I'm Vincent, and
I am Stephen.
bye bye.
Bye bye.